You're swimming in the open ocean when suddenly a massive silver ribbon rises from the depths below you. It's longer than a school bus, shimmering like a mirror, crowned with a brilliant red crest. This is the giant oarfish, the longest bony fish on Earth. The giant oarfish is one of the most enigmatic creatures on our planet. Despite being the longest bony fish ever recorded, reaching lengths of over 50 feet, we know almost nothing about how these creatures actually live. They inhabit a realm so deep and dark that humans rarely venture there. The twilight zone of the ocean, hundreds to thousands of feet below the surface, where sunlight fades to nothing. In Japan, they're called Ryugu no Tsukai, the messenger from the sea god's palace. And local folklore claims their appearance predicts earthquakes and tsunamis. In 2011, over 20 oarfish washed ashore in Japan, just months before the devastating Tohoku earthquake. In 2024, multiple oarfish appeared on California beaches, and people immediately started asking, what disaster is coming next? The longest confirmed specimen measured 36 feet. But there are unconfirmed reports of individuals reaching 56 feet or more. Despite this massive length, the oarfish weighs only around 600 pounds. Dr. Misty Peg Tran, a marine biologist at California State University Fullerton, had the opportunity to study a 14-foot oarfish that washed up in Oceanside, California. The bones of the oarfish are so soft, so lacking in calcium, that you can cut through them with an ordinary steak knife. Dr. Peg Tran described the skeleton as having a jelly-like consistency, translucent and flexible, offering no more resistance than firm gelatin. This is the longest bony fish in the world, yet its bones are softer than the cartilage in your nose. How is that even possible? In the deep ocean, between 650 and 3,300 feet down, the pressure is immense. Building and maintaining heavy, mineralized bones in this environment would require enormous amounts of energy. Energy that's hard to come by in the nutrient-poor depths. By evolving a lightweight, water-rich skeleton, the oarfish achieves neutral buoyancy without needing a swim bladder, an organ that would be crushed by the pressure at those depths. The oarfish has no scales. Instead, its entire body is coated in a layer of guanine crystals that create a mirror-like surface. This reflective coating is called the stratum argenteum, and it serves a brilliant purpose. In the twilight zone where the oarfish lives, there's just enough dim blue light filtering down from above to create silhouettes. Predators looking up from below can spot the dark outline of prey against the faint light. But the oarfish's mirror skin reflects that downwelling blue light, making it nearly invisible. It becomes a shimmering ghost, blending perfectly into its background. However, this adaptation comes with a major drawback. The guanine coating is extremely delicate. When an oarfish washes up on a beach or is handled by humans, the coating rubs off easily, leaving the fish looking battered and discolored. This is one reason why beached oarfish often look so monstrous and alien. They're dying, their protective coating is damaged, and they're completely out of their element. The dorsal fin of the oarfish is absolutely extraordinary. It contains over 400 individual fin rays and runs the entire length of the fish's body, from just behind its head all the way to its tail. The first 10 to 15 rays are elongated and tipped with fleshy bulbs, creating that distinctive crown or mohawk appearance. These rays are brilliant crimson red, which is why early naturalists called this fish regalicus, meaning royal or kingly. They thought it looked like the fish was wearing a monarch's crown. But this dorsal is the oarfish's primary means of movement. Unlike most fish that swim by moving their entire body side to side, the oarfish keeps its body almost completely rigid and undulates its dorsal fin in continuous waves. This is called amiform swimming, and it allows the fish to move with incredible precision and efficiency. The oarfish can hover in place, move forward or backward, and even swim vertically, all while keeping its body perfectly still. It's like watching a living ribbon dance through the water. The oarfish has a brain the size of a pea. Despite being longer than a giraffe is tall, its brain is absolutely tiny, roughly half the size of its eyeball. Dr. Tyson Roberts, one of the world's leading experts on oarfish, used veterinary MRI technology to study the brain of a giant oarfish, and the images confirmed what seemed impossible. This massive creature navigates the dark depths of the ocean with one of the smallest brain-to-body ratios of any vertebrate. For over a century, scientists examining dead oarfish specimens reported that the fish appeared to have no nostrils, no external openings for an olfactory organ. This was bizarre because smell is one of the most important senses for deep-sea creatures. Then Dr. Roberts made a breakthrough. He found the nostrils, but they weren't where anyone expected them to be. The nostrils of the oarfish are located inside its mouth, at the absolute front of its snout, opening forward rather than to the sides. This means the oarfish smells by keeping its mouth partially open and constantly pumping water through. By opening and closing its nostrils and rotating its body, the oarfish can track chemical trails through the water, essentially playing a game of underwater blind man's bluff. When it detects a strong scent in one direction, it turns toward it. If the scent weakens, it closes its nostrils, rotates to a new direction, and tries again. Through this process of elimination, it can home in on food sources or even other oarfish across vast distances in complete darkness. The oarfish also has these long, trailing pelvic fins that look like oars, which is actually how the fish got its common name. These fins can be several feet long and end in paddle-shaped tips. Scientists believe these serve as sensory organs, detecting vibrations and chemical signals in the water. They're like extended feelers, giving the oarfish information about its surroundings in an environment where vision is almost useless. The fish has virtually no teeth and a tiny, protrusible mouth. Despite its enormous size, it feeds exclusively on small prey, primarily krill, tiny squid, and zooplankton. The oarfish is essentially a giant filter feeder. It opens its mouth and sucks in huge volumes of water, straining out the tiny creatures through its gill rakers. This is why the oarfish poses absolutely no threat to humans. Even if you stuck your entire hand in its mouth, you wouldn't get so much as a scratch. It's a gentle giant, drifting through the deep ocean, vacuuming up clouds of krill. For most of human history, when people imagined sea serpents or drew pictures of oarfish based on sailor descriptions, they depicted them swimming horizontally, like a snake slithering through water. The oarfish spends much of its life hanging vertically in the water column, with its head pointed up toward the surface and its long body trailing down into the darkness below. The first confirmed footage of this behavior came in 2001, when the US Navy captured video of an oarfish in the Gulf of Mexico. Then, in 2010, the Serpent Project, which stands for Scientific and Environmental ROV Partnership Using Existing Industrial Technology, recorded multiple oarfish swimming vertically at depths of over 1,600 feet. These videos revolutionized our understanding of how these creatures actually live. Why would a fish choose to swim vertically? By hanging like a silver straw in the water, the oarfish presents an incredibly small profile when viewed from above or below. Predators looking up or down see almost nothing, just a thin line that could easily be mistaken for a piece of drifting debris or a strand of kelp. Meanwhile, the oarfish's mirror-like skin reflects the ambient light, making it blend in even more effectively. It's essentially invisible in the vertical position. It's incredibly energy efficient. The oarfish doesn't have to swim constantly to maintain its position. Instead, it uses that remarkable dorsal fin to make tiny adjustments, undulating it gently to hover in place. This allows the fish to wait motionlessly for clouds of krill or small squid to drift within range. When prey appears, the oarfish simply opens its mouth and sucks them in. No chasing, no high-speed pursuits, just patient, efficient feeding. There's actually another fish species that shows this behavior too, and I think you'll enjoy hearing about it. Don't worry, we'll be coming back to them soon. This vertical lifestyle also explains something that puzzled scientists for years. When oarfish are found on beaches or caught in fishing nets, they're almost always missing the rear portion of their bodies. In fact, nearly every oarfish specimen over 5 feet long has lost part of its tail. For a long time, researchers assumed this was due to shark attacks or other predators. Mason Roberts proposed a revolutionary hypothesis. The oarfish is deliberately amputating its own tail. This process is called serial autotomy. And while it's common in lizards that drop their tails to escape predators, it's almost unheard of in fish, especially fish of this size. When scientists examine the breakpoints on oarfish bodies, they find no teeth marks, no signs of violent trauma. Instead, the breaks occur at specific points in the vertebrae, well behind the vital organs, and the wounds show clear signs of healing. These fish have been living for years, possibly decades, after losing significant portions of their length. Why would an oarfish do this? The most obvious is predator evasion. If a shark or other predator grabs the oarfish's tail, the fish can snap off that section, leaving behind a wiggling distraction while the vital head and organ section escapes into the deep. It's the ultimate survival trick, sacrificing length to preserve life.
Living in the deep ocean is metabolically expensive. Food is scarce, and maintaining a 30 or 40-foot body requires a lot of energy. If an oarfish is starving or struggling to find enough food, it might prune its own length to reduce its caloric requirements. It's like the fish is downsizing itself to survive lean times. This would explain why so many oarfish are found at different lengths. They're not different ages or species. They're the same fish at different stages of their shrinking life cycle. Like most fish, adult oarfish in their medusa form likely swarm together and release millions of eggs and sperm into the open ocean for external fertilization. Adult female oarfish possess 2 ovaries that, when combined, can weigh around 20 pounds. Because oarfish have long, ribbon-like bodies, their internal organs are elongated to fit their anatomy. Dr. Misty Peg Tran noted something else interesting during her dissections. The vertebrae of the oarfish are so fragile that they can snap right down the center under even mild stress. When an oarfish is pushed to the surface by currents or illness, the change in pressure and the turbulence of surface waves might cause the tail to break off involuntarily. So the autotomy might not always be a deliberate choice. Sometimes it's just a consequence of the fish's incredibly delicate structure being subjected to forces it never evolved to handle. How does a 50-foot fish survive in one of the most food-scarce environments on Earth? The Twilight Zone, also called the mesopelagic zone, extends from about 650 feet to 3,300 feet below the ocean surface. This is where the oarfish spends most of its life. At these depths, sunlight has almost completely faded. There's just enough dim blue light to create shadows, but not enough for photosynthesis. This means there are no plants, no algae, nothing producing food at the base of the food chain. Everything that lives here must either hunt other creatures or wait for food to drift down from the sunlit waters above. The oarfish has chosen the waiting strategy. Its entire body is optimized for energy conservation. The oarfish doesn't waste energy building dense bones or powerful muscles. Instead, it's built like a living kite, designed to drift and hover with minimal effort. The oarfish is what scientists call a suction feeder. Its small, toothless mouth can extend forward like a tube, creating a powerful vacuum that sucks in water along with any small prey suspended in it. The water then passes through the fish's gill rakers, which act like a fine sieve, trapping the food while allowing the water to flow out through the gills. It's the same feeding strategy used by whale sharks and manta rays, just scaled down to match the oarfish's smaller mouth. Recent research has revealed that the oarfish might have a secret weapon for attracting prey in the darkness. When scientists examined oarfish tissue under ultraviolet light, they discovered fluorescent organs on the fish's head. One organ is located on the forehead, and another is positioned under the chin. These organs glow when exposed to UV light, which suggests they might be bioluminescent in the deep ocean. Bioluminescence is incredibly common in deep-sea creatures. It's estimated that up to 90% of animals living in the Twilight Zone can produce their own light. They use it for various purposes: attracting prey, communicating with potential mates, confusing predators, or camouflaging themselves against the faint light from above. If the oarfish's fluorescent organs are indeed bioluminescent, they could serve as lures, attracting krill and other small prey directly to the fish's mouth. By positioning itself head up, the oarfish can watch for the silhouettes of prey against the faint light from above. Meanwhile, its own body remains nearly invisible to anything looking up from below. It's the perfect ambush position for a patient predator. Are oarfish really prophets of doom? Do they predict earthquakes and tsunamis? In Japanese folklore, the oarfish is known as Ryugu no Tsukai, which translates to messenger from the sea god's palace. For centuries, Japanese fishermen and coastal communities have believed that when oarfish appear in shallow water or wash up on beaches, it's a warning from the gods that a major earthquake or tsunami is imminent. This isn't just an old superstition that people have forgotten. It's a belief that persists strongly to this day, and it was dramatically reinforced by events in 2011. In the months leading up to the devastating Tohoku earthquake and tsunami that struck Japan on March 11, 2011, approximately 20 oarfish were reported in Japanese waters. Some washed up on beaches, others were caught in fishing nets, and a few were spotted swimming near the surface. Then came the magnitude 9.1 earthquake, one of the most powerful ever recorded, followed by a massive tsunami that killed nearly 20,000 people and triggered the Fukushima nuclear disaster. In the aftermath, people remembered the oarfish sightings, and the legend of the Doomsday Fish was cemented in the public consciousness. While there's no proven connection to earthquakes specifically, there might be something else going on that's worth exploring. Let's think about what could cause deep-sea fish to suddenly appear at the surface. Many animals can detect environmental changes that humans cannot. Snakes, for example, can sense seismic activity hours before an earthquake and will flee an area. Birds often evacuate regions before major storms. Elephants become agitated and vocalize before tsunamis. These animals aren't psychic. They're responding to physical changes in their environment, changes like electromagnetic field fluctuations, infrasound waves, barometric pressure shifts, and the release of gases from the Earth's crust. Could oarfish be doing something similar? It's possible. Fish are known to be sensitive to changes in the Earth's magnetic field, which can fluctuate before seismic events. They can also detect changes in water pressure and temperature, as well as low-frequency vibrations that travel through water far more efficiently than through air. If tectonic plates are shifting deep beneath the ocean floor, the oarfish living in that twilight zone might be among the first creatures to sense it. One of the biggest challenges in studying oarfish is that they're incredibly difficult to find and observe. They live at depths that are beyond the reach of conventional scuba diving. They're rare, solitary, and spread across vast areas of ocean. And they're so fragile that they often don't survive being brought to the surface for study. So how do scientists learn about these elusive creatures? The breakthrough came with the development of remotely operated vehicles, or ROVs. These are essentially underwater robots equipped with cameras, lights, and sometimes sampling equipment. They can dive to depths that would kill a human and stay down for hours or even days. This created an unexpected opportunity for marine biologists. Every ROV encounter is a chance to observe behavior. Every genetic sample is a piece of the puzzle. Scientists are racing to understand these creatures before they potentially disappear, and they're doing it with limited funding and resources because deep-sea research is expensive and difficult. Autonomous underwater vehicles can now dive to extreme depths and stay down for months at a time, collecting data continuously. Environmental DNA analysis, where scientists can identify species present in an area just by analyzing water samples, could help us map oarfish distribution without ever seeing the fish themselves. Keep learning about the ocean and the incredible creatures that live there. Share what you learn with others. The more people who care about the deep sea, the better chance we have of protecting it.
What do you think about the giant oarfish? Have you ever seen one in person? What other deep-sea creatures would you like to learn about? Let me know in the comments below. I read every comment and I love hearing your thoughts and questions. If you found this video valuable, please give it a like. It helps the algorithm show this content to more people who might be interested in learning about these incredible creatures. And if you want to see more videos exploring the mysteries of the natural world, make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on. Thank you so much for watching. The ocean is full of wonders we're only beginning to discover, and the giant oarfish is proof that the most incredible legends are sometimes based on even more incredible truths. Until next time, keep exploring. Keep questioning. And keep marveling at the extraordinary planet we call home. And then, in less than a second, the sand erupts. 8 arms unfurl. A body the size of a football materializes out of nowhere. A pair of eyes, eerily horizontal. And just as fast as it appeared, it is gone. It has dissolved back into the reef wall. This is an octopus. What is actually going on inside an octopus? What is it thinking? How does it see the world? It has been on this planet for roughly 300 million years, long before dinosaurs ever walked the Earth. It survived the mass extinction that wiped out nearly 96% of all marine species. It's a curiosity, a strange, slimy thing from the deep. In the last 2 decades, researchers have made discoveries about octopus biology and behavior that have genuinely shocked the scientific community. An animal that uses tools. An animal that has been observed playing, which is a behavior scientists once considered exclusive to warm-blooded vertebrates. But the octopus did not get smart the way we got smart. Evolution invented intelligence twice. Once in the vertebrate lineage, which eventually produced fish, reptiles, birds, mammals, and us. And once, completely independently, in the cephalopage, which produced squid, cuttlefish, and the octopus. These 2 paths to intelligence have nothing in common. Our brains are centralized, protected inside a skull, built around a spinal cord. The octopus has no skull. It has no spine. It has no bones at all. Its brain is shaped like a donut, and its esophagus runs directly through the middle of it, which means if an octopus tries to swallow something too large, it can literally give itself a brain injury. And yet, despite this completely alien architecture, the octopus is one of the most capable problem solvers on the planet. Meet the master of disguise. The mimic octopus is a sea creature with the amazing power to turn itself into other animals in seconds. It can shift its color, body form, and skin texture almost instantly. In nature, camouflage is often used to stay safe from predators. But it can also help hunters get close to their prey. This survival skill is a powerful result of evolution. Most forms of camouflage are about blending smoothly into the surroundings, but the mimic octopus does the opposite. Rather than hiding, it makes itself obvious, almost as if saying, "Come closer, I'm ready." Scientists have recorded these octopuses copying creatures ranging from mantis shrimp and seahorses to large crabs and starfish. Comment below and tell me what you think they are imitating. Here is how it works. Beneath the surface of an octopus's skin are 3 distinct layers of specialized cells, and each layer does something completely different. The outermost layer contains structures called chromatophores. Each chromatophore is essentially a tiny elastic sac filled with pigment, and it is connected directly to a set of muscles. When the brain sends a signal, those muscles pull the sac open, expanding it up to 500% of its resting size, and the color floods the skin. When the muscles relax, the sac snaps shut, and the color disappears. The octopus has millions of these cells, and it can control them with extraordinary precision, firing different combinations across different regions of its body to produce patterns of almost unlimited complexity. The second layer of cells, called iridophores, handles the problem of light. Iridophores do not contain pigment. Instead, they are built from stacks of ultra-thin plates that reflect and refract light the way a soap bubble does, producing iridescent blues, greens, and silvers that shift depending on the viewing angle. These cells allow the octopus to match not just the color of its surroundings, but the way light behaves on different surfaces. The third layer, leucophores, scatters white light across the skin to create contrast and brightness variation, filling in the gaps that the other 2 layers leave behind. And their visual system tells a fascinating story of its own. Octopuses have camera-style eyes with a lens, iris, and retina, following the same basic design found in vertebrate eyes. This stands as one of the clearest examples of convergent evolution. 2 separate lineages, divided by 600 million years, reached almost the same answer to the challenge of forming images. But there is one major difference in how that design works. Vertebrate eyes contain a built-in flaw. The optic nerve runs through the retina, creating a blind spot where no photoreceptors are present. This happened because of the way our eyes formed during evolution, with the neural wiring ending up in front of the cells that detect light. Octopus eyes escaped this problem completely. Their photoreceptors face the incoming light source, and the neural wiring connects behind the retina. The result is a smooth visual field with no blind spot at all. It is a level of design that would make any human engineer jealous. They also have the power to detect polarized light, the directional movement of light waves, something humans cannot see. This ability helps them spot transparent prey such as jellyfish. Notice contrast in places where colors barely differ, and perhaps even send signals through polarized skin patterns that most predators cannot detect. And that leads to what may be the most puzzling part of octopus vision. Strong evidence shows that they are functionally colorblind. The octopus is colorblind. Every piece of evidence we have suggests that octopus eyes contain only a single type of photoreceptor, which means they cannot distinguish between different wavelengths of light the way you and I do. They see the world in what is essentially a single channel of information. And yet, they produce color-matched camouflage that fools animals with full color vision. For decades, this was one of the most maddening, unsolved problems in cephalopod biology. The leading hypothesis right now involves those light-sensitive proteins we mentioned, called opsins. Researchers have found opsin proteins embedded directly in the skin cells of octopuses, completely separate from the eyes. The idea is that the skin itself may be able to sample the color of incoming light and use that information to calibrate the essentially seeing without seeing. The skin is not just a display. It may also be a sensor. Think about what that means for a moment. The octopus may be processing visual information across the entire surface of its body simultaneously, running a kind of distributed color matching algorithm in real time, without any of it passing through conscious awareness the way our visual processing does. It is not thinking about what color to turn. It is just turning. Now, most octopuses use their camouflage system to blend in, to become invisible. But one species took the whole thing in a completely different direction. The mimic octopus, discovered off the coast of Sulawesi in Indonesia in 1998, does not just blend into its background. It impersonates other animals. Specifically, it impersonates animals that predators are afraid of. When threatened, a mimic octopus can flatten its body and undulate its arms in a specific pattern to resemble a flatfish moving across the sea floor. It can tuck 6 of its arms into a burrow and extend the remaining 2 in opposite directions, holding them rigid and banded with black and white stripes to mimic a banded sea snake, one of the most venomous animals in the ocean. It has also been observed mimicking lionfish by spreading its arms wide
and holding them at angles that replicate the venomous spines of the lionfish's fins. It is the decision-making behind it. The mimic octopus appears to select which animal to impersonate based on the specific predator it is facing. When researchers observed it being approached by damselfish, which are particularly afraid of lionfish, the octopus chose the lionfish impersonation. When approached by other predators, it switched to different forms. That is not a reflex. That is a choice. It requires the octopus to recognize the predator, retrieve information about what that predator fears, select the appropriate performance, and execute it. All of this animal with no bones, no centralized brain structure anything like ours, and a total lifespan of roughly 1 to 2 years. There is one more layer to the camouflage system that most people do not know about, and it is the one that arguably makes the whole thing work. Color and light matching are impressive, but a predator with good eyesight can still detect an animal if its surface texture does not match the environment. A smooth patch of skin on a rough coral wall is going to stand out no matter how perfectly the colors match. The octopus solved this problem with structures called papillae. Papillae are small muscular projections embedded in the skin that can be raised or flattened on demand. When an octopus settles onto a rough surface, it raises its papillae to create a three-dimensional texture that matches the physical structure of what it is sitting on. When it moves to a smooth surface, it flattens them completely. The transition happens in milliseconds, and the octopus can produce dozens of distinct texture patterns, from fine grain to large irregular bumps, covering its entire body simultaneously. The combined effect of chromatophores, iridophores, leucophores, and papillae working together produces a camouflage system so complete that researchers have described watching an octopus disappear in front of their eyes as one of the most disorienting experiences in field biology. You are looking directly at it. You know it is there, and you still cannot see it. $500 million. That is roughly how many neurons an octopus has. For context, a honeybee has about 1 million. A mouse has around 70 million. A dog has roughly 530 million. So the octopus sits in the same general neighborhood as a dog in terms of raw neuron count, which is already surprising for an invertebrate. But what matters is where those neurons are. In your brain, and in the brain of every vertebrate on the planet, the overwhelming majority of neurons are concentrated in a single centralized structure inside the skull. Your arms do not think. Your legs do not make decisions. Your skin does not process information independently. Everything flows up to the brain, gets processed, and flows back down as instructions. The whole system is built around a central command structure. In an octopus, only about 1/3 of its neurons are in its central brain. The other 2/3 are distributed across its 8 arms, with each arm containing its own dense network of roughly 50 million neurons. Each arm is, in a very real sense, a semi-autonomous processing unit. It can taste, touch, grip, explore, and make local decisions entirely on its own without waiting for instructions from the central brain. Researchers demonstrated this in a striking experiment. They severed an octopus arm from the body, which sounds brutal, but was done under controlled conditions for scientific purposes. The detached arm continued to respond to stimuli for up to an hour after separation. It recoiled from unpleasant chemicals. It reached toward food. It executed complex coordinated movements involving multiple suckers working in sequence. The arm was behaving as though it were still part of a living animal, because in a neurological sense, it still was. The central brain was gone, but the arm's own intelligence was intact. This raises a question that sounds philosophical, but is actually a serious neuroscience problem. When an octopus reaches an arm into a dark crevice to search for prey, who is in charge of that arm? Is the central own initiative? The evidence suggests it is the latter. The central brain appears to issue broad commands, something like, reach into that crevice and find food. And then the arm takes over, navigating the complex three-dimensional space of the crevice using its own sensory input and its own local processing, reporting back to the central brain only when it finds something relevant. The octopus is not one mind controlling 8 arms. It may be closer to 9 semi-independent minds operating in coordination. Here is something that sounds like a disadvantage, but turns out to be one of the octopus's greatest assets. Has no bundle. The only hard structure in its entire body is its beak, which is made of chitin, the same material as insect exoskeletons. For most animals, the skeleton is what makes precise movement possible. Your muscles pull against your bones to produce controlled, predictable motion. Without a skeleton, you would have no leverage, no structure, no way to generate directed force. You would be a bag of fluid. The octopus solved this problem in a completely different way. Instead of rigid levers, it uses what engineers call a muscular hydrostat. The same basic principle that makes your tongue work. A muscular hydrostat is a structure made entirely of muscle with no rigid internal support that achieves stiffness and direction by contracting muscles in specific combinations. When you stiffen one set of muscles along an arm while relaxing others, you create a temporary, rigid structure that can push or pull with considerable force. When you change which muscles are contracted, you change the shape and direction of the force. The result is an arm that can bend at any point along its length, in any direction, to any degree, simultaneously with any other movement. There is no joint limiting the range of motion. There is no bone that can break. The arm can squeeze through a gap the size of a coin, extend to full length to reach a distant object, coil around prey to grip it from multiple directions at once, and do all of these things at the same time in different arms. But controlling a structure like this is a computational nightmare. When you reach for a glass of water, your brain is solving a relatively constrained problem. Your arm has a limited number of joints, each with a limited range of motion. And your brain has learned through years of experience exactly which combination of muscle activations produces the movement you want. The math is complex, but bounded. An octopus arm has what mathematicians call infinite degrees of freedom. It can take on essentially any shape, which means the control problem is not just complex. It is theoretically unsolvable by a centralized brain working in real time. There are simply too many possible configurations to evaluate and select from fast enough to be useful. The solution the octopus evolved is to not solve the problem centrally at all. The arms solve it themselves. Each arm has internalized the physics of its own movement through a kind of embodied intelligence, a deep familiarity with its own mechanics that allows it to navigate complex physical situations without needing to consult the central brain for every micro-adjustment. The brain sets the goal. The arm figures out how to get there. The ocean is home to some of the most alien, intelligent, and visually stunning creatures on Earth. Here are the most beautiful octopus species in the world. The undisputed heavyweight champion of the cephalopod world, the giant Pacific octopus, is as majestic as it is massive. Found across the North Pacific, these titans can reach lengths of 9.75 to 16 feet and weigh up to 110 pounds. They possess roughly 280 suckers on each arm, providing a grip that can hold on to almost anything. Small, vibrant, and incredibly dangerous, the blue-ringed octopus is the femme fatale of the ocean. Endemic to the western Pacific and frequently spotted near Australia, they are famous for the iridescent blue circles that glow when they feel threatened. They have a surprisingly calm temperament and lack an ink sac, making them popular aquarium inhabitants. Despite their beauty, they produce tetrodotoxin, a potent neurotoxin also found in pufferfish. While they are not naturally aggressive,
their bite is lethal. Often cited as the cutest inhabitant of the abyss, the Dumbo octopus gets its name from the ear-like fins positioned above its eyes, resembling the famous Disney elephant. These octopuses live at extreme depths of up to 13,000 feet. Unlike many of its cousins, the Dumbo octopus swallows its prey, like isopods and bristleworms, entirely whole. The blanket octopus is the definition of weird and wonderful. They exhibit extreme sexual dimorphism. While males are a tiny 1 inch long, females can stretch up to 6 feet. Females have large webs of flesh between their arms that look like a flowing blanket. If threatened, they can detach segments of these blankets to distract predators. They prefer the open ocean over the sea floor, drifting gracefully through the water column. If the giant Pacific is the largest, Octopus wolfie is its tiny, adorable counterpart. This is the smallest octopus species known to man. It measures only about 1 inch and weighs a mere 1 gram. They feature delicate papillae patterns and tiny suckers near the tips of their arms. They are typically found in shallow waters. The crown for the most beautiful octopus goes to the Caribbean reef octopus. This species is the ultimate expression of biological art, possessing a nearly limitless palette of colors and textures. It can instantaneously change its skin texture and color to match coral, sand, or rock. They are strictly nocturnal, emerging at night to hunt crustaceans across the vibrant reefs of the Caribbean. This is the question that makes philosophers and neuroscientists genuinely uncomfortable. Because we do not have a good answer. We know that octopuses have nociceptors, the sensory cells that detect tissue damage and trigger pain responses. We know that when an octopus is injured, it changes its behavior in ways consistent with pain avoidance. It guards the injured area. It becomes less active. It shows reduced interest in food. These are the same behavioral signatures we use to infer pain in other animals. We also know that octopuses show something that looks very much like curiosity. When presented with a novel object, an octopus will approach it, examine it with its suckers, manipulate it, and return to it repeatedly over time. This exploratory behavior is not driven by hunger or threat. It appears to be driven by something more like interest, a motivation to gather information about the world for its own sake. There are documented cases of octopuses in laboratory settings squirting jets of water at researchers they appeared to dislike, repeatedly and specifically targeting the same individual while leaving others alone. There are cases of octopuses dismantling equipment in their tanks, not because the equipment was blocking access to food or shelter, but apparently because they found it interesting to take apart.
One researcher described watching an octopus spend 45 minutes repeatedly dropping a pill bottle into the current created by its tank's water intake and catching it as it floated back, over and over again. By any reasonable definition of the word, that is play. And then there is the question of sleep. In 2021, researchers published a study showing that octopuses cycle through distinct sleep states, including one that involves rapid color changes across the skin, flickering patterns that shift and pulse for several seconds before fading. The researchers proposed that this active sleep state may be analogous to REM sleep in mammals, the sleep stage associated with dreaming. If that interpretation is correct, and it is still a hypothesis, then the octopus may be the only invertebrate we know of that dreams. What does an octopus dream about? We have no idea. But the fact that we can ask that question seriously about an animal this different from us tells you something important about how far our understanding of consciousness and experience has come, and how much further it still needs to go. For most of the 20th century, the scientific consensus on octopus social behavior could be summarized in a single sentence. Octopuses are solitary animals that tolerate each other only long enough to mate, and sometimes not even then. Octopuses are territorial. They are cannibalistic under certain conditions. They spend most of their time alone in dens. When to encounter each other in the wild, the interaction often ends with one of them retreating, or worse. The solitary loner narrative made sense, and for decades, nobody seriously questioned it. Then, researchers started taking a much closer look. And what they found, nearly 2 miles below the ocean's surface, in one of the harshest environments on Earth, was that they were gathering together. In 2012, a team of marine biologists studying a population of gloomy octopuses, a species found off the coasts of Australia and New Zealand, discovered something that should not have existed according to the prevailing model. They found a site they eventually named Octlantis. It was a community, not a loose aggregation of animals that happened to be near the same food source, but a structured settlement of up to 15 individual octopuses living in close proximity, interacting regularly and displaying a complex repertoire of social behaviors that nobody had predicted or prepared for. A new species nicknamed the Dorado octopus. But because it is also new, it has not yet been given an official name by scientists. The octopuses at Octlantis were communicating with each other using color and posture. Dark coloration, particularly around the eyes and mantle, was associated with aggressive intent and typically preceded physical confrontations. Pale coloration signaled submission and retreat. Specific postures, including what researchers described as standing tall, raising the body up on extended appear larger, were used consistently in dominance interactions. These were not random behaviors. They were a social signaling system, a shared language of body and color that the animals were using to negotiate their relationships with each other. There were hierarchies. Certain individuals consistently dominated others. There were evictions, where a dominant octopus would physically remove a subordinate from a desirable den site. There were what appeared to be long-term social memories, with individual octopuses behaving differently toward specific neighbors based on the history of their previous interactions. None of this was supposed to exist in a solitary animal. The social complexity of octopuses does not stop at their interactions with each other. There is a behavior that has been documented in multiple locations across the Indo-Pacific that is so unexpected, it took researchers several years to accept it as real. Octopuses hunt cooperatively with fish. Not in the way that, say, wolves hunt cooperatively with each other, with a shared goal and coordinated strategy among members of the same species. This is something stranger, and in some ways more impressive. It is a cross-species hunting partnership between animals with completely different body plans, completely different sensory systems, and no shared evolutionary history of cooperation. Here is how it works. A grouper or a coral trout, both large predatory fish, will approach an octopus and perform a specific head-standing display, pointing its body vertically downward toward a crevice where prey is hiding. The octopus reads this signal, moves to the indicated location, and uses its flexible arms to probe into the crevice and flush out the hidden prey. The fish waits at the entrance. Whatever escapes the octopus gets caught by the fish. Both animals benefit. The octopus gains access to prey it might not have located on its own. The fish gains access to prey it could never reach inside a narrow crevice. The partnership works because each animal brings a capability the other lacks. What makes this genuinely astonishing from a cognitive standpoint is that the octopus has to understand what the fish is communicating. It has to interpret a signal from a completely different species, recognize it as meaningful, and respond appropriately. That requires a theory of mind, at least in a rudimentary sense. The octopus has to model the fish as an agent with intentions, understand that the head-standing display is a communicative act rather than random behavior, and act on that understanding. This is not something we expected to find in an invertebrate. It is barely something we expected to find outside of primates. Here is the part of the octopus story that is genuinely heartbreaking. And I think it is important for it.
Most octopus species live for 1 to 2 years. Some of the smaller species live for only a few months. The giant Pacific octopus, the largest species in the world, with arms that can span up to 4 meters, lives for 3 to 5 years at most. These are among the shortest lifespans of any animal with comparable intelligence. And the end of an octopus's life is not peaceful. After mating, the male typically dies within a few weeks. The female lays her eggs, which can number in the tens of thousands depending on the species. And then she does something that is difficult to watch. She stops eating. She spends the entire incubation period, which can last several months, guarding the eggs, aerating them with her arms, cleaning them, protecting them from predators. She dedicates every remaining resource in her body to those eggs. And when they hatch, she dies. Every octopus that has ever lived has had to figure out the world entirely on its own, from scratch, with no parental guidance, no cultural transmission, no accumulated wisdom passed down from one generation to the next. And yet they are brilliant. Every single generation reinvents the wheel, and every single generation succeeds. Everything a human knows is built on a foundation of thousands of years of accumulated culture, language, education, and social transmission. We are not starting from zero. We are standing on the shoulders of every human who came before us. An octopus gets none of that. It hatches alone. It lives alone. It figures everything out alone. And in the space of 1 or 2 years, it becomes a sophisticated problem solver capable of tool use, social negotiation, cross-species communication, and possibly dreaming. If octopuses had longer lives, if they had the ability to accumulate and transmit knowledge across generations the way we do, there is a genuine scientific argument to be made that they would be the dominant intelligent life form on this planet. The fact that they are not is not a reflection of their cognitive capacity. It is a reflection of the evolutionary trade-offs that shaped their biology. Intelligence and longevity simply did not get packaged together in the cephalopod lineage the way they did in ours. That is not a failure of the octopus. It is a reminder of how contingent and arbitrary the path to any particular outcome in evolution really is. The octopus forces us to confront a question that is deeply uncomfortable for a species that has spent most of its history assuming it sits alone at the top of the cognitive hierarchy. What is intelligence, really? Is it the specific architecture we happen to have? The centralized vertebrate brain with its cortex and its hemispheres and its particular way of organizing information?
Or is it something more fundamental? A capacity to model the world, to learn, to adapt, to solve problems, to experience, that can be implemented in radically different physical substrates. The octopus says it is the latter. Intelligence is not a structure, it is a function. And evolution will build it out of whatever materials are available as many times as it needs to, because it works. That is not just a fact about octopuses. That is a fact about the nature of minds. And it means that as we look out into the universe and ask whether intelligence exists elsewhere, we should probably stop imagining creatures that think the way we think, with brains that look like ours, in bodies that move like ours. The universe has had 13.8 billion years to run the same experiment that produced the octopus. The results, whatever they are almost certainly stranger and more wonderful than anything we are currently prepared to imagine. So let us bring it all together. The octopus has a camouflage system so sophisticated that its skin may be able to see color independently of its eyes, producing real-time disguises that fool animals with full color vision, despite the octopus itself being colorblind. It has a nervous system so radically distributed that each of its 8 arms operates as a semi-autonomous intelligence, capable of independent decision-making, sensation, and complex movement without instruction from the central brain. It has a social life far richer than we ever suspected, complete with communication systems, dominance hierarchies, long-term social memories, and cross-species hunting partnerships with fish. It plays. It may dream. It solves problems no one taught it to solve, in a lifespan shorter than most of our attention spans. And it did all of this by taking a completely different path than the one that produced us. If you have ever looked at the ocean and felt like there was something vast and unknowable out there, something that operates by rules you do not fully understand, you were right. And it has 8 arms. If this video changed the way you think about intelligence or about what is going on beneath the surface of the ocean, let me know in the comments. I want to know which part surprised you most. Was it the skin that might be able to see? The arms that think for themselves? The social lives nobody predicted? Or the fact that an animal this extraordinary lives for barely 2 years and still manages to figure everything out from scratch? Drop it below. I read everything. And if you want to dive even deeper into the science of animal intelligence,
I made a video exploring the animals that break the rules of death. That video is linked on your screen right now. I'll see you there. Start swimming straight down. Past the reef, past the last warm shafts of sunlight. Somewhere around 660 feet. The squid you thought you knew starts to come apart. Its body stretches out. Its eyes swell until they're the size of a dinner plate, or they vanish completely. Less light, less food, more cold, more crushing pressure with every single layer. And squid pay that bill with their own bodies. Call it the depth tax. The deeper you go, the higher the tax. And the stranger the animal that paid it. Why does every squid get creepier the deeper you go? And what is waiting at the very bottom, in a place we have somehow barely even looked at? Lock in. Let's sink. This is the sunlight zone, the upper 660 feet. It is the only layer with enough light for photosynthesis, which means it is warm, it is bright, and it is absolutely packed with food. If the ocean were an apartment building, this would be the rooftop penthouse with the great view and shockingly cheap rent. 8 arms, 2 longer feeding tentacles, a pair of perfectly reasonable eyes, and a smooth torpedo body that glides through the shallows. And it comes with one trick that is going to matter for this entire journey down. Chromatophores. Those are thousands of tiny sacs of color buried in the skin, each one wrapped in muscle. Flex the muscle, and a wave of red or gold or brown ripples across the body in a fraction of a second. The reef squid uses that to flirt, to argue, to warn off rivals, and to melt into the sunlit water whenever something hungry swims by. Up here, hiding just means matching the light. It is the easy mode version of staying alive, because there is still plenty of light to play with. You can be colorful. You can be flashy. You can afford to look good. That is what cheap rent buys you. A squid has no skeleton, no bones, no shell, nothing rigid holding its shape in place. It is basically a brain, 2 big eyes, and a bag of intensely capable muscle. So when the depth tax comes calling and the environment demands something radical, there is nothing structural standing in evolution's way. A fish is locked into the blueprint of a fish. A squid is clay. the ocean can completely redraw it, layer by layer, and it does. This sunny, comfortable zone we love so much is barely the skin of the ocean. More than 90% of all the water on this planet sits below it in the cold and the dark. You drop past that 200-meter line, the ocean stops being nice. It starts charging. And the squid start paying. From 660 down to about 3,300 feet. You can actually feel the change here. The water cools. The blue drains out of everything and turns to a deep, bruised gray, then to almost black. There is not enough light left for photosynthesis and barely enough to see by at all. Predators stop being animals and start being shadows. Prey becomes a guess. And the rule of survival quietly flips on its head. Up top, the goal was to be quick and colorful. Down here, the only goal that matters is this: do not get seen. So watch what the squid does about it. This is the first real transformation, and it is genuinely clever. The firefly squid. It is tiny, barely the length of your finger, and it solves the visibility problem with one of the most beautiful tricks in all of biology. It glows. It has little light organs scattered across its body, 5 of them ringing each eye, 3 more on the tips of its arms, and a soft blue light spread across its underside. Now, here is why that is genius and not just pretty. A predator hunting from below looks up and sees its prey as a dark shape pressed against the faint light still trickling down from the surface. So the firefly squid erases that shape. It lights up its own belly to exactly match the glow coming from above, dimming and brightening to keep pace, until its silhouette simply stops existing. Scientists call it counter-illumination. It is camouflage made out of light. And every spring, billions of these things flood Toyama Bay in Japan and turn the whole shoreline electric blue. That glow runs on pure chemistry, by the way. A molecule called luciferin reacts with oxygen and produces what is called cold light, brightness with almost no heat behind it. And that same chemical trick gets reused all the way to the bottom of the ocean, sometimes to hide, sometimes to flirt, sometimes to lure dinner in close, and sometimes to blind whatever is trying to eat you. Then there is the glass squid, which takes the opposite exit out of the same problem. Instead of making light, it just refuses to cast a shadow at all. Its body is nearly see-through. You can look straight through it and watch its eyes, its stomach, even its little ink sac floating inside like a thought that never quite finished forming. It fills itself with an ammonia-rich fluid that bends light almost exactly like seawater does, so it doesn't really hide so much as quietly stop being there to anything looking for it. And these squid are part of something enormous that almost nobody up here ever notices. Every single night, the whole twilight zone drains upward. Billions of animals climb in the dark to feed under the cover of night, then sink back down before the sun catches them. It is the largest daily migration of life anywhere on the planet, happening over our heads every night, completely out of sight. So this is still the polite end of the twilight zone, glowing softly, going invisible, everybody just trying very hard to be left alone. But drop a little deeper and the squid stop hiding altogether. They start hunting in coordinated, flashing packs. Around 660 to 2,300 feet down, you run into the squid that fishermen flat out named the Red Devil. This is the Humboldt squid, and it is a long, long way from a cute little reef animal. Its body alone runs up to about 5 feet, and it can weigh as much as 110 pounds. Picture a torpedo of solid muscle, roughly the size of a grown adult, except it has 10 arms and a temper. Those arms are lined with 100 to 200 suckers, and every single sucker is ringed with sharp little teeth. When fishermen haul one up onto the deck, it strobes red and white in a furious panic. And that is exactly where the name comes from. El Diablo Rojo, the Red Devil. The Humboldt squid fires its chromatophores from red to white faster than you can blink. And research suggests it actually uses its own faint glow as a kind of backlight, so the rest of the pack can read the signals in the pitch dark. Studies back around 2007 to 2011 confirmed that these animals hunt in coordinated groups, dozens of them moving and striking together in total blackness without ever crashing into each other. So that creepy, flickering skin is not a horror movie effect. It is a hunting party on a group call, working out the next move. The thing that looks like a nightmare is really just excellent teamwork. Food is thin in the twilight zone, so the Red Devil eats whatever it can get. And a shocking amount of the time, what it can get is other Red Devils. When scientists open up their stomachs, somewhere between 30 and 68% of what's inside, by weight, is other Humboldt squid. They grow fast, they burn hot, they live barely 2 years, and a huge chunk of that growth is literally fueled by eating their own kind. Go a little deeper, around 2,600 to 3,300 feet, and you find a squid that turned light itself into a weapon. The Dana octopus squid carries the largest light organs of any animal we know of, glowing patches on the tips of its arms about the size of lemons, complete with little flaps of skin like eyelids to switch them off. It uses them to fire off blinding flashes that stun prey for the half-second it needs to strike. Think about how far we have come in just a few hundred meters. Up at the surface, light was for hiding. A little deeper, light was for talking. And now, down here, light is a flashbang. So far though, every squid you have met has at least let us see it. They live in water we can reach, in light we can still borrow. But past 1,000 meters, all of that ends. The light goes out for good. The cold settles in, and the squid stop being fast. They start getting huge. This is the midnight zone. From roughly 3,300 to 13,000 feet down. And there is no light here, none at all. The temperature hangs just a few degrees above freezing. The pressure is monstrous. And the only food is marine snow, a slow, endless drizzle of dead plankton and waste sifting down from the bright world far above. It sounds like the single worst place in the ocean to try and grow big. So why is this exactly where squid get enormous? Meet the giant squid. It can stretch to around 43 feet, longer than a city bus. And it carries the largest eye in the entire animal kingdom, up to 27 centimeters across, the size of a dinner plate. This is the animal that built the Kraken legend. For centuries, sailors swore that arms the size of ship masts rose out of the deep and dragged whole vessels under. And you know what? They were not entirely wrong. There really was a giant down there in the dark. They just had the name a little off. But that dinner plate eye is the perfect example of everything this video is about. It is not enormous to look scary. It is enormous because in near total darkness, a giant eye soaks up the faintest scraps of light there are, and that lets the giant squid spot the shadow of its main predator, the sperm whale, from more than 400 feet away. The eye is an early warning radar bolted to the front of the animal. And the giant size itself? That is not horror either. That is pure survival math, and there are actually 3 different rules of biology stacking up to make it happen. The first is called Kleiber's Law. The bigger an animal is, the more efficient it is with energy, because a large body loses proportionally less heat to the cold water around it. A small animal is all surface, constantly bleeding warmth and constantly needing to refuel. A big one holds its energy. The second is Bergmann's rule, which is the observation that in colder environments, animals simply tend to get larger for that very same reason. And the third is oxygen. Cold, deep water holds more dissolved oxygen than warm surface water does. And more oxygen lets cells and bodies build bigger before they hit a wall. So put all 3 together, freezing cold, almost no food, and water rich in oxygen. Down here, being enormous stops being a luxury and becomes the single smartest way to avoid starving to death. The cold and the hunger did not shrink these animals down. They blew them up. For most of human history, we only knew it existed at all from the evidence it left on its enemies. Round sucker scars carved into the heads of sperm whales. And beaks. So many beaks. A squid's beak is the one part of it that a whale cannot digest, so it just collects, and a single sperm whale's stomach can hold tens of thousands of them, piling up over a lifetime of hunting in the dark. Sit with that image for a second. Tens of thousands of tiny beaks in one stomach, and every single one is the last surviving record of a squid that nobody ever saw alive. We were reading an entire monster off of its leftovers, like a detective reconstructing something it had never once laid eyes on. Put it in perspective. We landed humans on the moon in 1969. We did not film a single living giant squid in the wild until 2012. We watched a man walk on another world more than 4 decades before we managed to film the animal living in our own ocean. Oh, and while you are down here, you might bump into the squid the internet absolutely swears has human teeth. That would be Promachoteuthis sulcus, and the photo is genuinely unsettling. It looks like a squid grinning back at you with a full set of straight white human molars. So let me ruin the horror for you real quick. Those are not teeth. They are folded lips, with the actual beak hidden somewhere deep inside the mouth. That's it. The most cursed image in the ocean is just a squid with very committed lips. You're welcome. But here is the thing. The giant squid is not even the heaviest thing down here. For that, you have to go deeper still, into water cold enough and dark enough to build a tank. Now we cross into the abyssal zone from about 13,000 to 20,000 feet. This is the true void. Pitch black, just above freezing. Under pressure that would crush solid steel like a soda can. The depth tax up here is brutal, and only the most extreme designs in the entire ocean can afford the rent. And this is where you meet the heaviest invertebrate alive on planet Earth. The colossal squid. It is actually shorter than the giant squid, but it is built completely differently. Where the giant is long and lean and fast, the colossal is short, dense, and built like a submarine that decided to grow hooks. It weighs in somewhere around 1,100 pounds, which is heavier than a grand piano. And those hooks are the real story. Its arms do not just carry suckers, they carry rotating hooks, and the word rotating is doing a lot of work there. Each hook sits on a swiveling base, so when something struggles against it, the hook simply turns and follows the movement and bites in deeper. The harder the prey fights, the more locked in it gets. Its eyes, meanwhile, are bigger than a soccer ball, the largest eyes of any animal that has ever existed anywhere, ever. And every single one of those features is the exact same answer to the exact same problem. Down here, food is so rare that you genuinely cannot afford to miss, not even once. The giant squid solved that with speed and reach. The colossal solved it with patience and torque. It does not chase anything. It hangs in the black. catches the faintest flicker of a passing glow with those soccer ball eyes and strikes a single time. And the rotating hooks make absolutely certain there is never a need for a second try. Speed is one way to win down here. Refusing to let go is another. Science has known the colossal squid existed since 1925, when the very first pieces of one, just 2 of its arm crowns, turned up inside the stomach of a sperm whale near the Falkland Islands. A whale ate the proof, and a scientist named it from the scraps. So sit with that. We have known the single heaviest squid on the planet was down there for an entire century. We named it. We drew it. We put it in the textbooks and the nature documentaries and the museum displays. And in all that time, we never once saw a living one. Not a single confirmed sighting in the wild. Until the year 2025, when a team from the Schmidt Ocean Institute finally filmed one alive for the very first time. And it was a baby, barely 30 centimeters long, glassy and delicate and almost transparent, drifting quietly at around 2,000 feet with no idea it had just ended a 100-year wait. Named in 1925, pieced together from a whale's stomach, seen alive in 2025. A full century just to watch it move once. The colossal squid is not the only thing down here that turned darkness into a strategy either. There is a ghost of a squid called Grimalda toothus, almost completely transparent, with tentacles thinner than thread. It does not chase a thing. It just twitches the very tip of one tentacle in the dark, mimicking a small struggling animal, and waits for something curious to swim over and investigate. And then it has dinner. No light, no speed. Not a single wasted movement. Just a lure and a frankly unsettling amount of patience, which down here is its own quiet kind of horror. We waited 100 years just to watch the heaviest squid in the ocean breathe. But the deepest one, we have never actually seen a grown one at all. This is the end of the line. The Hadal Zone, named after Hades, the underworld itself. It begins around 20,000 feet down and drops all the way to roughly 36,000 feet into the deepest trenches on the entire planet. The pressure down here would crush a submarine like it was made of paper. Almost nothing alive can survive this deep. And yet, here, at the absolute bottom of everything, lives the creepiest squid of them all. The big fin squid, also known as Magna pinna. You will know it the instant you see it because it looks genuinely, fundamentally wrong. Its arms and tentacles bend at sharp 90-degree angles, like a creature that somehow evolved elbows. And from those elbows hang impossibly thin filaments that trail down into the black
for up to 26 feet. That is about the length of a stretch limousine, dangling off of a body barely bigger than your forearm. It is the deepest living squid we know of, recorded as far down as 20,380 feet in a trench near the Philippines. Nothing else like it lives this low. It has the whole basement to itself. And once again, the nightmare design turns out to be a really good answer to a brutal question. Down here, moving costs energy, and energy is the single rarest thing in the entire ocean. So the big fin does not swim around looking for food. It simply hangs in the water, perfectly still, and lets those enormous filaments dangle beneath it like a curtain of invisible tripwires. Anything that drifts into them is caught before it ever realizes the squid is even there. The weird elbow bends keep all those filaments from tangling together. The clear, colorless skin reflects almost nothing, so even a predator carrying its own light slides right past without noticing. Every single part of that alien-looking body is just one rule taken to its absolute extreme. Do not waste a single movement, because down here, you genuinely cannot afford one. But here is the truly unsettling thing, the thing that keeps deep-sea biologists up at night. Every big fin squid we have ever recorded, every last one, has been a juvenile, a baby. We have grainy footage of the young ones drifting and walking on those long, spindly arms. And that is the entire collection. We have never once collected an adult. So if the babies are already this big and this strange, then somewhere below us right now, there is a fully grown one we have never laid eyes on. Bigger, older, just hanging there in the dark, waiting, in water we cannot reach. And for everyone who has ever played a certain underwater game, yeah, I know exactly which juvenile leviathan you are thinking of right now. And the answer to where the adult is, genuinely terrifying. So that is the bottom. The deeper we went, the stranger it got. Because after all of that buildup, I want to introduce you to the squid with the most terrifying name in the entire sea. Its scientific name translates, literally, to vampire squid from hell. And the vampire squid absolutely looks the part. Deep blood red, with eyes that catch the light like polished glass, and a cloak of dark webbing stretched between its arms so it looks permanently mid-lunge. It drifts through what is called the oxygen minimum zone. Around 2,000 to 3,000 feet down, in water with so little oxygen that almost nothing else can survive there at all. It looks like something that hunts you in your sleep. So here is what it actually does for a living. Nothing. Truly, almost nothing. It is not a predator. It is not even a true squid or a true octopus. It is its own ancient thing, the last surviving member of a lineage that is otherwise entirely extinct, a living fossil drifting around down there. And it is a detritivore, which is the polite scientific way of saying it eats the ocean's falling garbage. It unfurls two long, sticky filaments out into the dark, lets them slowly collect marine snow, that constant drift of dead plankton and waste sinking down from above, and then quietly passes that little meal up to its mouth. The most demonic name in the entire ocean belongs to a creature that gently catches falling crumbs in the dark. And honestly, we only know any of that because of one extremely stubborn scientist. For decades, nobody could figure out what the vampire squid actually ate. The thing lived in water we could barely reach, and it refused to do anything dramatic on camera. So in 2012, a researcher named Henk Jan Hoving, working alongside Bruce Robison at the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute, went back through 25 years of deep-sea footage. He sat down and watched 170 separate video clips, more than 23 hours of tape, and then carefully studied living ones in the lab, all just to answer one small, stubborn question. 25 years of footage, 23 hours of video, just to discover that the scariest sounding animal in the deep sea is basically the calmest, most harmless thing down there, politely composting the ocean. And really, that is the truth about every single squid we just met on the way down. The red devil and its flashing battle language, the kraken with the dinner plate eye, the colossal tank with the swiveling hooks, the big fin hanging in the trench like a torn ghost. Not one of them ever evolved to terrify us. Not one of them has ever spent a second thinking about us at all. Every hook, every glow, every giant eye, every alien limb is just a careful answer to a question we will never have to face. How do you survive in a place that would end a human being in seconds? Terrifying is our word for them. Survival is theirs. Which leaves exactly one question left. If none of them are actually coming for us, then who, exactly, is the creepy one here? Try something with me. Stop being the diver looking down and become the squid looking up. You were born in the crushing dark, where the only rules are cold, pressure, and patience, and where every neighbor you have ever known glows or drifts or waits. And then one day, this soft, pale, lumbering thing comes sinking down from somewhere far above. A thing with no glow, no hooks, no protection of any kind. A thing that goes completely blind the second the light fades and bursts apart the moment the pressure climbs. From down there, you are not the brave explorer at all. You are the impossible one. To a deep-sea squid, the surface is the creepy place, and we are the soft little aliens who, frankly, should not exist. And that flip should sit with you, because here is the genuinely humbling part. We act like the deep sea is the last mysterious corner of an otherwise fully mapped out world. It is not even close. In over 70 years of trying, with every submarine and robot and camera we have ever built,
human beings have laid eyes on roughly 0.001% of the deep sea floor, an area about the size of Rhode Island. That is it. We have sharper, more detailed maps of Mars, of the Moon, and even of Venus than we do of the bottom of our own ocean. And around 65% of every deep sea look we have ever taken happened within 200 miles of just 3 countries. We have not explored the deep sea. We have squinted at one corner of one corner of one corner. So the grown bigfin that nobody has ever seen, the squid bigger than the colossal that nobody has ever filmed, the species with no name and no footage and no record at all, they are not science fiction. They are just down there, right now, in the 99.999% we have never once visited, paying the depth tax in shapes we have not even thought to imagine. None of these animals are monsters. The deep sea doesn't build monsters. It builds receipts. The visible, physical cost of staying alive somewhere we never could. And maybe that is the strangest thing to carry back up to the surface with you. The most alien world we have ever found isn't out there in space at all. It is the one on our own planet that we built the tools to look at last. So I have to ask you, which one would you actually rather come face to face with down there in the dark? The colossal squid that outweighs a grand piano? Or the big fin we still cannot explain? Drop your answer in the comments and be honest about it. And if the depth tax got its hooks into you on the way down, go watch the video on why the deep sea grows giants in the first place. Because it turns out, size is just one more bill the ocean makes these animals pay.